Good afternoon everybody, Car Biker here, trying simultaneously to watch the traffic and the glider in the air up there. Wonder if the camera can see the glider. I've still not quite sussed what the GoPro can and can't see when compared to the drift that I used to have. You find me today on this glorious afternoon. Yeah, we're off to a place called Thornborough to see a site that's been around for 4,500 years, called the Thornborough Henges, also known as the Stonehenge of the North. But don't expect Stonehenge, there's no stones. There are 3 henges. People think of henges and think of Stonehenge with all of its standing stones and whatnot, but there's none of that here. Although one of the henges was originally, they were covered in gypsum, so it would have sparkled in the sun and been visible from miles around, so it would have been quite a spectacular sight. But a henge is just an earthwork really. It's just a kind of enclosure made of earth, generally with a ditch around the inside of the mound, be used for various things. In the case of Thornborough, the belief is that it was used for rituals and traditions, potentially a meeting place, potentially a trading place. Around it there are 10 or 11 burial mounds, so also used for burial in the area. But this area that I'm in North Yorkshire, there are lots and lots of things in that kind of vein, lots of Neolithic sites like this one, including some that I've shown you before, including the Devil's Arrows, which funnily enough this particular set of henges lines up with the Devil's Arrows, even though it's about 15 or 20 miles away. Quite impressive. Yeah, anyway, the henges themselves, it's 3 henges, 3 big circles, about 200 metres across each one of them. Huge things. They're not quite in a straight line. There's like a dog leg around the middle henge, and they think that it's to match the 3 stars of Orion's belt in the Orion constellation. And the 3 henges were originally about 4 metres high. It was about 13 foot something. Fair old earthwork. But unfortunately they've become quite damaged. Well, mainly I think ploughing, but also grazing livestock, rabbits and various other things that have happened on the land. But there's still enough there to go and have a look at. One of the henges on private property, so you can't actually go onto that one, I don't believe. 2 of them are now run by English Heritage, owned by Historic England. They were owned by Tarmac, of all people, or of all companies. And Tarmac wanted to quarry the quarry nearby for gravel, and they wanted to quarry right up to the edge of these henges, but there was an uproar. There's a petition of about 10,000 signatures apparently from local people, and I believe in return for getting the rights to quarry somewhat further away, they in turn gave the site, or 2 of the 3 henges that they owned, they gave the land to the country, to Historic England, so it gets preserved in its current state for as long as possible. So we're just going to ride down to it, and then we'll have a bit of a walk around it, and then I'm going to pop the drone up in the air. I've actually come down the wrong road. I thought Graham was following his map, he was counting junctions. But it's quite handy because just here I'm going to pull over and let's have a look at something. I just want to show you something here. So if we look across here, you'll see there's a lot of trees, quite a lot of trees indeed. It's hard to see it well from this angle, but this set of trees here is actually one of the henges. This is the one that's on private land. There's a goose flying past. This is one that's on private land, so we can't go and see it, but it's completely covered in trees. It's the only one that is, and as such apparently it's one of the best preserved henges in the country. The thing I didn't mention was how big this set of henges is. But the whole thing is a mile long. That's the northernmost henge where the trees are. Over there's a line of bushes in the distance that you probably can't see. Not the trees in the distance, but before that, past all these sheeps. And that's where the middle henge is. And that's where we're actually going to park up. So that's about half a mile away that direction. Here we are. So we're now at the middle of the three henges. You can see not a great deal of the earthworks left there, but a bit. Let's see what we can see. About 4,500 years ago, Neolithic people built three spectacular henge monuments on this upland plateau. These circular enclosures were used for ceremonies and rituals. Each henge has two opposing entrances, which could suggest their use in processions. The central henge was built over an earlier rectangular monument called a circus or carcass, which originally stretched over 900 metres to the left and right of where you are standing. If anyone knows how you pronounce that, circus or carcass, I'd love to know. It does say their drone use is prohibited, but only taking off from their land. Out here, we're in public. Here's a picture with a view of the henges from the air. You can see there, that's where we are in the middle. That's the private one that you can't visit. See, this was a complete circle with that being an entrance, and it would have all been 4 metres, about 13 feet high, but it's been severely damaged over the years. But they don't seem to mind too much because it's still got sheep grazing on it over there. Oh, let's go and have a look. This is the one that they believe was originally covered in gypsum, so it would have been sparkling in the sun. But of course now it's just grass. I guess any gypsum's been ploughed in or taken for other purposes. So we're just inside the southern entrance. As Graham was saying just to me a second ago, there's not a great deal to see from the ground. Just the earthwork. And when you pan round this way, you see Graham looking wistfully into the distance. In the middle, you can pick out that there is definitely a circle here where a ditch was. But again, it's very tricky to pick out now. When we see it from the air, you can see a lot more, I hope. Across to the other side. So to see the second one that you're allowed to see, the southern circle, southern henge, we go this way across the field. Apart from 2 lummocks in Yorkshire, people, it's really peaceful here. All you can hear is the birds.
And Graham, out of breath. He's making me walk.
Making me exercise, Mum. He's making me exercise. This here is what's left of the entrance to the third henge. You can see there's a bit of hill there. I believe this is the most damaged one. So this is the bank of this particular henge, and there's no signs on this one saying you can't go up. So we'll have a look. Not as tall as it once was. You can see from here the scale of the thing. And bearing in mind this would have been done pretty much by hand 4,500 years ago. There's Graham. Graham is providing my sense of scale. Remember, Graham is 12 feet tall. Yeah, done so long ago by hand, it would have been some mean feat, some bit of engineering, and being careful to stick to the well-trodden path. You can hear various birds taking off and trying to scare us away, so I'm giving them plenty of distance because there's some ground nesting birds around here. And just talking with Graham, saying that with the bird flu we've got at the minute, there's a number of birds that are dying The last thing we want to do is add to the misery. I'm about a third of the way around now. There's Graham, I can hear him saying, he's right over there. That gives you some scale. Let's do the rest of the circle. I guess if you got too hot and sweaty as you walked round, you just stop for a quick bath. I assume that's for watering the sheep. So this will be roughly where the southern entrance was. See if there's a line back across the middle or if I'm going right round. And there's Graham. This level, looking around at the banks, where they are now and where they would have been, you would have been completely hidden in here from the outside world. It would just look like a little hill. Kind of cosy, isn't it? Anyway, I think I'll head back to the road, get the drone up, and show you what it looks like from the air, which is, I have to say, better. Well, I've never actually flown a drone over it, so I believe it's better based on pictures I've seen. That was our little trip to Thornborough Henges. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you liked the drone footage. I've now lost a layer of clothing because it's incredibly hot now, especially after walking to one end and back. So back on the bike, heading home. Thank you for watching, everyone. Ride safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.